Last month, your yard was alive with cardinal songs at dawn and chickadee chatter by the maple. This week, that same space feels eerily quiet and the silence isn't seasonal. 10 specific mistakes are systematically driving birds away from suburban yards. The 10th mistake happens above every house in America, and most homeowners never notice its devastating scale. The first two mistakes in your yard might look innocent, but they're triggering precise behavioral responses that Cornell lab researchers have documented for decades. The first mistake involves those reflective garden balls, gazing spheres, and metallic wind chimes you've strategically placed for visual appeal. To a territorial cardinal or blue jay, these surfaces reflect movement that reads as an intruding rival, triggering aggressive displays that waste precious energy and drive birds away from the very areas you want them to inhabit. The second mistake compounds this problem, placing feeders in wide open lawn areas where birds feel exposed. Cornell research on avian spatial behavior shows that birds evaluate your yard's layout as a risk assessment calculation, measuring distance to escape cover against predation threat. Place feeders at least 15 feet from dense bushes or shrubs. This distance is far enough to prevent ground predators like cats from using vegetation as a hunting blind, yet close enough that birds can reach protective cover within seconds if a hawk dives. Your yard's spatial arrangement is being evaluated by every bird as a survival equation, and most suburban layouts are failing that test spectacularly. Your third and fourth mistakes eliminate entire food chains beneath birds' feet. Your yard's pesticide applications, even those targeted sprays for aphids or grubs, systematically destroy the insect populations that power avian survival. A chickadee pair requires approximately 9,000 caterpillars to raise a single brood. When you eliminate insects through chemical treatment, you eliminate the birds that depend on them, regardless of how many feeders you install. The fourth mistake compounds this crisis. That bird bath positioned in your yard is likely too deep and lacks the movement that signals safety to birds. The water should be no deeper than 1 inch at the edges, sloping to a maximum of 2 inches deep in the middle. Yet most commercial baths exceed 3 inches. Birds are especially attracted to moving water because still water signals stagnation and potential predator ambush sites to species that have evolved around flowing streams. The sight and sound of movement triggers the neural response that identifies water as a living, safe source rather than a trap. Based on what we just covered about reflective garden spheres triggering territorial responses and that 2-inch maximum depth rule for bird bath water, which mistake do you think is more common in suburban yards? Comment your answer below. Now, let's examine how your third and fourth mistakes are destroying the foundation of bird survival itself. Your fifth and sixth mistakes occur when your yard becomes a sensory assault on bird nervous systems. Artificial light at night advances avian activity rhythms by hours, disrupting sleep timing and reducing sleep quality through a mechanism most homeowners never consider. Many avian species exhibit unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, the ability to rest one half of the brain while the other half remains alert, keeping one eye open for predators during this process. Your yard's artificial lighting, from porch lights to landscape fixtures, directly interferes with this critical neural process by eliminating the darkness necessary for proper rest. Light pollution disrupts the light-dark cycles that regulate circadian rhythms, preventing birds from achieving the deep sleep states required for survival. The sixth mistake compounds this crisis: excessive noise during peak feeding hours. Research on urban songbirds shows that traffic and human activity during morning and evening feeding windows force birds into a survival equation they cannot win. They must choose between feeding and communication. Birds exposed to chronic noise during these critical hours shift their vocal activity to nighttime, when the environment quiets, but this timing shift means they're awake when they should be sleeping and sleeping when they should be feeding. The sensory assault of light and noise together doesn't just annoy birds. It systematically dismantles the neurological systems that keep them alive. Your seventh and eighth mistakes create invisible hunting corridors that transform your yard into a predator buffet. Removing native plants breaks the essential connections between plants and birds. Native plants serve as virtually the only host for many native insects that are essential food for many birds, particularly nesting songbirds. One native oak tree can support over 500 species of caterpillars, while most non-native trees host no